You know, guys, one film that I think gets constantly brought up in the horror community in terms of being held at very, very high regard is the Australian mockumentary film, found footage mockumentary film, Lake Mungo. It's a film that people love to recommend, debate, revisit, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're actually going to mainly focus on this release from Umbrella that just came out, but we're also going to be taking a look and comparing it to the older release from Second Sight and see which one I think holds up the best. Now, if you are interested in either one of these releases, I'll make sure to link them down below where you can go ahead and pick them up. Now, this limited edition version from Second Sight is out of print. You can't get it anymore. At least retail-wise, you can't get it anymore. But the standard version is still available, so I'll link that one down below. It's got all the same content in terms of special features on the disc, just you won't get the booklet or the art cards or the rigid case. So, Lake Mungo. Lake Mungo is a horror documentary that documents the mysterious disappearance and death of a young teenage girl named Alice Palmer. Now, on the surface, Alice Palmer is this pretty much a very well-liked, shy, quiet teenage girl. She's the kind of teenager that you would expect every parent in their town to trust her to babysit their kids while they go off on a date night. Now, one day while Alice, her parents, and her brother are out on a lake, not Lake Mungo, but they're out on a lake, they get out of the water and Alice doesn't. They turn around and she's gone. They don't know what happened to her. Well, fast forward a little bit, we find out that she did drown, and it shows footage of the police pulling Alice's body out of the water. And from that point on is where all the mysterious stuff start to happen. The film then documents everything that happens following Alice's death. We start to learn there's certain secrets about Alice, about people in the town of Ararat, and all of it kind of circles around this psychic in the area. But I don't want to go too much deeper into this story because I feel like the less you know about the movie, the better off you are and the more impact that this story has for if you're watching it for the first time. At least it did for me. I knew nothing about this movie. One thing that really makes Lake Mungo stand out among other mockumentaries is the realism of it and how real it actually feels like you are watching a true crime documentary. While it does have nods to found footage, and there are found footage scenes in the movie, I'd argue it leans more towards, like I said, that true crime documentary. Something you would probably see on Netflix, I don't know, like Making a Murderer or something like that. The performances of the actors with their characters are so well done, and it's not overly done, I should say. It's subtle. The little subtleties of each of these characters, I think, what really sells it. You know, the pauses after the answers, the way they look at the camera or not look at the camera, even the discomfort in their expressions when bringing up certain details about the disappearance and death of Alice Palmer. Actually, it is so realistic and convincing that I was able to convince my wife that it was real on first watch. She eventually did figure it out after a while, but for the most part, she really believed that this was a documentary that I had bought to put on. It's that convincing. But this realism, I think, also enhances the creep factor, the horror aspect of this mockumentary. And I watched some scenes in this and it just makes me laugh. And it's not that I'm laughing at it. I'm laughing at the shows. I'm laughing at how real it feels to, your modern ghost hunting shows like Ghost Hunters or something like that. A lot of the scenes and the little camera shots, so they put up a camera here and we're going to watch something happen, right? A ghost walk by or a face is actually in the background the entire time. It's so convincing, and it kind of makes me chuckle when I see that. But I do think that is part of what makes this film so scary to some people, even more so than jump scares, I think, is the fact that they'll show you a clip a picture, an image of something. And on the surface, it looks like you're just seeing the Palmer family minus Alice, unfortunately, just standing there. And then it zooms into like a random corner that's, you know, I don't know, 50 yards in the background. And you see a figure and it looks like Alice. And I think, like I said, that is what's scary for most people, is because you're looking at something where you don't really notice anything, but there is something staring back at you the entire time. So it almost, once that realization starts to happen as they zoom in, it's almost as if you're being watched. And that is really creepy. I mean, I'm sure you guys have been somewhere you just had that kind of eerie feeling that you feel like you're being watched. Maybe the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, the goosebumps, you know, whatever it is, you feel like there's eyes on you, and that's very scary. And I think that is what those shots do in this movie when it zooms into a shot of Alice Palmer post her death in the background of an image or a video. It's sinister is what it is, and it does really stick with you long after the movie ends, even leaves you with this sense of kind of dread and uneasiness that even after seeing the film, you kind of look over your shoulder a little more often than you usually do. But another aspect that I find very fascinating about Lake Mungo, and I didn't really know about this until I really dove into the special features of the Umbrella release, is how much it taps into the real history and geography of Australia. The film, obviously the name references the real location of Lake Mungo, where it is believed that we have found the oldest ever human remains. Which feels poetic because this film ends where, like I said, the very first, we feel like, earliest human remains has ever been discovered. So the film ends kind of where humans began in a way. It's symbolic in that way. And I find that very, very fascinating and very, very interesting. Even I love, and I didn't know about this, the town of Ararat, where the film takes place, for the most part, is a real small little ghost town that has a lot of history in that town. A lot of creepy kind of ghost spooky stuff goes on in the town of Ararat. And there's a special feature in the Umbrella release that kind of goes over that. And it's really, really cool to watch. All of that just adds an extra layer to this film that I do appreciate with this. But let's go ahead and we'll talk about the releases here. We're, of course, going to be starting with this release from Umbrella Entertainment right here. Now, this came out just last December, so it's fairly new. You've probably seen other YouTubers out there already cover this, already talk about this, but I really wanted to dive into this and, you know, really appreciate this before I brought you this video. And I gotta say, right off the bat, this is incredible what Umbrella did with this release. The amount of love, care, and respect that Umbrella put into this is immediately obvious. From the packaging, I mean, this gorgeous packaging, the presentation, to the special features. My God, the special features in this is incredible. I would argue this is very, very close to probably a perfect release. It very well may be a perfect release. Now, this release has a lot of standouts with it. I think one of them, one of the few, is that this is the very first time this film has ever been in 4K. Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, Jordan, you know, a lot of these scenes, if you've seen the movie, is made to look grainy, old, and bad, because at the time they were using, there's a lot of footage in this of them using a old phone camera. And you're right. But that's not the reason this is in 4K. It's for the interview shots with the parents, with the people of the town, with her friends, with her brother. That is for those shots, and the kind of B-roll shots that they use to make it feel like a documentary. You know, shots of the town, shots of their house, shots of where, you know, Alice's body was found. All of that looks gorgeous in 4K. I think it looks stunning. That's why they did this in 4K, was for those scenes right there, which they deserve all the praise for this restoration because it looks beautiful. But the other standout of this release, I think, that needs to be discussed is the special features in this release. Because just about every special feature in here, minus like one or two, are all brand new and exclusive to Umbrella Entertainment. Now, these aren't just new ones that Umbrella just did themselves. They got everybody involved in the special features for this. They got everyone involved with this release. The actors, the writers, directors, the crew that worked on this movie. They even got people like Mike Flanagan, David Dasmalchian, Neil Marshall. They got the writers and directors for the Blair Witch Project to come and talk about this film. So they went all out with this. And those are all in what I think is the best part about this release. That's all in the documentary Lake Mungo Revisited, which is a 3-hour-long documentary. A 3-hour-long documentary for an hour-and-a-half film. It's very reminiscent to me of the Second Sight release of the Blair Witch Project. With that documentary, the magnitude of that release is very, very similar to this. And I loved that release, which is why I love this release. But not only the documentary getting brand new, you're getting new behind-the-scenes stuff, new deleted scenes, never-before-seen footage. You're getting a new video essay with Alexandra Heller-Nicholas, which I think is a really, really, really great video essay that I think you guys should check out. It's a great one. You're also getting the full shooting script, a booklet, a photo book in here. Man, I'm telling you, this is a packed release. But let's go ahead and let's talk about this release from Second Sight right here. Now, with this release, just about every single special feature in this, minus I think an audio commentary, maybe one other one, is not found on the Umbrella release. Umbrella put all brand new stuff in their release, so this does have different stuff in there. I'll take a look. Let's see. Some of the stuff you're getting a new audio commentary by Alexandra Heller-Nicholas and Emma Westwood. You're getting Captured Spirits interview with the DP, Josh Brawley, Ghost in the Machine interview with producer David Rapsey, Cop and a Friend, an interview with actors Carol Petula and James Lawson, Kindred Spirits filmmakers. So you're getting a few really, really cool stuff, and there is that right there. But with that being said, talking about both of these releases, let's see what the heck comes in both of these. So let's admire this packaging real quick from Umbrella Entertainment. And I love the artwork they chose. Just, it's got this premium look to it, which I'm all for. Let's take all the contents out right there. Oh, and then in here, let me see if I can get that out. You've got the backing card with all of the special features, everything that comes in this release. You guys can pause the video if you'd like to go ahead and see what this comes with. A lot of stuff. I already did a breakdown of when this got announced on Umbrella's website. You guys can go ahead and check that video out because I go over everything that comes in this release. What do they have? So they did 8,000 of these. I got number 1867 right there. Also, I should mention too, the 4K obviously is going to be region free. The Blu-rays are region B, the documentary and stuff, but Umbrella, they're still region free. They will work in your player, so anybody can pick up this release. Anybody gets to watch the documentary, which I think is a massive, massive plus. So first, what I think this has a leg up on Second Sight is it's an actual case itself. It's not a digipack with a slipcover, by the way. There is the front of the slip. On the back it says, if you've never seen a ghost, look closer, which perfectly said with, like I talked about, the zooming in shots throughout this film. Let's take that slipcover off. And there you have the classic artwork for Lake Mungo. And on the back is all the same information that we are getting on the backing card itself. There is technically reversible artwork with this, but the reversible artwork has the Australian rating. So I flipped it to not have that. Let's take this poster out right here. So we are getting our 4K disc right there. There is our Blu-ray, our first Blu-ray, with special features, and then there it is right there, the documentary, which I forgot to mention. The documentary has all those interviews, right, with like Mike Flanagan, Neil Marshall, all that stuff, but they also have special features within that documentary with the full uncut interviews with everyone that they interviewed, and some of them are like an hour long. Like I know Mike Flanagan's like 50 minutes, so it's a really, really awesome release. Here is the poster we are getting in here. So classic artwork right there, and then there you are. So there is the poster that comes. You'll find in the case itself right here. Let's get that back on. And then here we are getting Matt's photo book. The character, Matt Palmer, Alice's brother, he's a photographer in the film. That may or may not have... Well, I'm not going to spoil anything. But in here is literally just supposed to be his photo book. You got shots from the movie in here that it's supposed to be. Like pictures he took, which is really cool. And that's all it is, just a photo book right there. This is a really, really cool little addition that they threw in here. There you are. Yeah, something a little extra for you. Next, right here is the script itself. It says Lake Mungo by Joel Anderson, right there. And it's got it like it looks beat up and stuff, like it's been used. And as you can see, it is the script, guys. Isn't that awesome? Very cool. Does this say how many pages? It doesn't say how many pages it is. It actually, you know what? Hold on. It might actually say it. It should say it on here. Okay, it just says 100 plus. So we don't have an actual number for how big it is. But we're also getting this hardback book. Says, I feel like something bad has happened right there. And on the back it says, it hasn't reached me yet, but it's on its way. Hardback book right there. And let's go ahead and fan through this. And of course, this is going to have your behind the scenes shots, different essays in here. Sorry, it's kind of hard to fan through a hardback book right there. Let's see. Yeah, so you can see you got some essays right there and stuff. Awesome booklet here. Lots of great essays in here. Oh, these are some opening shots from the movie. They're like old Victorian photographs that supposedly have spirits in them. They're kind of eerie, to be honest. I don't see a table of contents in here, unfortunately, so they don't have that. But anyways, as far as how many pages, I don't believe this is numbered either. Yeah, it's not numbered, but on the backing card it does say 100 plus. So I don't know the exact number. But guys, that is everything in this awesome packed release of Lake Mungo from let me get this back in here, from Umbrella Entertainment. Now let's talk about Second Sights. So they're going with a different feel with the artwork right here. Kind of looks like a watercolor painting. Of course, we've got Alice right there, Alice Palmer. And there is the lake where she was found. Now, I know earlier I said with Umbrellas, you're actually getting a case, not a digipack. Normally that's the case, especially with 4Ks with Second Sight, but with their Blu-rays, they do give you an actual case, which is nice. No slipcover or anything like that. But there is the back with all the stuff that this comes with. You guys can go ahead and pause the video if you would like. No reversible artwork with this, and it's the same exact artwork that is on the rigid case itself. On the inside, you are just getting the one Blu-ray disc right there. And yeah, like I said, no reversible artwork right there. With this, we are getting some art cards. Not a whole lot of art cards. There you are. And there's nothing on the back there. There you go. And this is a pretty cool shot right here. Lake Mungo. So there's your art cards. And then you are getting this book right here, this little booklet with just some more essays and stuff. Behind the scenes shot. Very similar to the booklet you were getting with Umbrellas. Behind the scenes, essays, all that stuff. But with this, it does have a table of contents right here with all the stuff that this comes with. And page-wise, this has, looks like 70, so about 80 pages in this booklet. So guys, there is everything that you were getting in Second Sight's release of this Australian classic of Lake Mungo. Now, guys, which release came out on top of these two? I think it's kind of obvious. Umbrella takes the cake here. It's an incredible release. I would say this is the definitive version of this film we will probably ever get. And then it's just so fitting with Umbrella being an Australian label. You know they were going to give it the works for this release. And man, did they do that. Incredible work from Umbrella for this film, Lake Mungo. Now, that's not to say that Second Sight's is a bad release. This is a great release. And in fact, at the time, this was the release to get of Lake Mungo. Just Umbrella came and wiped the floor with them. But look, if you are a hardcore fan of this film and you want everything you could possibly get with this, I would say pick this up if you want all the booklets and everything. And then you can get the standard version of this, which still has all the special features. So you'll have all the features you could possibly get with this film. Or what you could do is Umbrella does sell a standard slipcover version. So you would just be getting this. That still has documentary, still has all those special features. You just won't be getting the booklets and stuff, which is available at the movie room. Use my discount code MOVIE1010. Save yourselves 10% off. They are carrying that. But anyways, save yourself a little money. Get just the slipcover version from Umbrella. Get the standard version from this. You know, if you're okay with not having the chunky boxes and the booklets, you are still going to have everything you could possibly want for the film, Lake Mungo. But at the end of the day, if you were to choose one, this is the one to get, guys. Incredible release. But guys, that's going to be my review, my comparison of Lake Mungo from Umbrella and Second Sight. Guys, let me know down below. Did you pick up Umbrella's release of Lake Mungo? Did you go with the chunkier collector's edition or the slipcover version? Or do you have the Second Sight version? You're thinking, no, I don't want to get the Umbrella one. I'm good with the Second Sight version. I'm good with Blu-ray. I don't need all the extras that Umbrella has to offer. Look, my opinion, that's the one you should get. But, you know, hey, you do you. But anyways, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. And of course, you all take care.